Is the Blizzard Arcade Collection worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome, everyone, to episode 239 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 120. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game or games on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, was the 90s just the best?
Yes.
That's it. Show's over.
Show's over. But is a collection of games just a game? Probably not. No, okay. I think it's multiple games is what it is.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how people reviewed this game or collection of games. But anyway, we are talking about the Blizzard Arcade Collection developed by Blizzard Entertainment.
You don't say.
Well, sometimes they'll pawn it off to some other smaller studio. Just be like, here, remake this game or something. And then they just go find a ROM and be like, here you go. I did it.
If you're lazy, we're lazy.
This game was a multi-platform release. It came out in February of 2021 on the PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I play this on the PC per usual. 4.5 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
On the Series S, you save some space. 4.20 gigabytes.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Trying to make good with Xbox before they get bought out by them, huh? Yeah. All right. Well, what kind of game is it?
I put collection of retro classics with extras.
Ooh. I put racing, action, strategy games.
Yeah, right. Like that. It's yes.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. I am really curious what you thought the game loop was, Tom.
See, now you're funny. I did include now the games in mind. So I wrote explore classics from Blizzard's catalog, kill the orcs, coordinate the Vikings, race isometrically.
Ooh, okay. I put finish the race, get to the end of a level.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess can you get to the end of a level in a racing game? Yeah, after you do a couple of loops, technically the end of a level.
The end is when the final flag.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's get into now our likes.
Okay. Well, why don't you start with the obvious number one there? I
mean, look, it is nostalgia at its core. 90s vibes all around. The UI in itself was like very. Although I will say it leans very heavily on the Super Nintendo style of vibes and, argument because they were a developer that started with the Nintendo and then they ported stuff to the Genesis and stuff like that. So that's probably why they leaned towards it. It was very cool. 90s extravaganza. It was great. Great little like UI for me to play around with.
My number one is that rock and roll racing is included. That's one of my childhood favorites. And it includes 4 different versions of rock and roll racing to play. I went with the definitive version because I've never played that before. I'm very familiar with the Super Nintendo cut of it. So I was like, instead of just playing that again, let me try what how they've dressed it up.
Yeah.
And I will say it is still as fun to play as I remember. It looks good. It sounds good. Play it.
Oh yeah, I was really surprised with the definitive editions, especially with the rock and roll racing one, where the audio was much better. Like they had the legit soundtrack, like they had Black Sabbath, I believe, and some of the other games. Oh God. The song from Terminator 2, Bad to the Bone, was there, and like all in its original glory, not in like the 8-bit or 16-bit sounds, which I thought was really
fully cool. Imagined with lyrics and everything.
Yeah. So very cool. And I took the time, especially when the way I played these games in the hour, I broke it up into about 12-minute chunks. So I set a timer for each of them and cut it up. So I was surprised, especially when I got to rock and roll with like the different versions. I went through and played all the different versions of it. Started with the definitive, went to Genesis, then Super Nintendo. I was like, oh wow, you could see the difference in the port from SNES to Genesis. Spoiler: the SNES version was much better. So that was kind of surprising. But anyway, and it was cool also, like for all the games, you can mess with the display settings. Like you put on these little retro filters throughout them. And then there's like these, because it was in a box format, you you have like the box art or something definitive of the games that's like kind of splayed out in the wallpaper style in the background. So it was like, oh, that's cool, good stuff.
Yeah. I likewise did break up my time. I didn't break it up quite so cleanly.
Okay.
I did 20 minutes each of Rock and Roll Racing, the first Lost Vikings, and Blackthorn.
Okay.
The Lost Vikings I had never played before. But since I did Rock and Roll Racing first with the definitive, I was like, let me go with the definitive on this as well.
Yeah.
I liked that it like explained the mechanics with like a little in-game like video, like kind of like plays through the first level for you in a kind of way. Like it just shows you how each of the characters works. It doesn't tell you, it shows you, and reminded me of, you know, Mega Man X, which is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, which is very much a show don't tell. And I guess I wasn't expecting that the Lost Vikings was like a puzzle game.
Yeah.
I guess as a kid, I never played it, and I just kind of assumed it was more of an action game.
Yeah.
And so how it really works is that you control these 3 Vikings, and you have to get all 3 of them to the end of the level, and you do that by strategically using each one and positioning them. Like one of them has a shield, so you move him up and block the enemies. Then you move up with the attacker, and you can attack from a range. And then you have another character that can like jump. So, you know, if you need to clear a ledge or something like that, and how these 3 characters interact together, it was an interesting and cool kind of puzzle game.
Yeah. It's funny. I felt like I played this game before too, but then when I actually played, I was like, no, I don't think I've ever played this game before. I think I just remember seeing the ads all over the place when I was little, like seeing these Lost Vikings characters and be like, oh, that's cool. And then never playing it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely fun to play that and try the different abilities for each of the Vikings. I thought, and kind of going a little stepping back a little bit, I like the fact that we have a rewind option in the game or in the collection, and you could save and load at any time with like as any good ROM manager does. But yeah, that was cool. I was happy about that. And I mean, you could really see like the genesis of Blizzard's like style come from a lot of these games.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. Like they're very orc heavy, and you're like, oh, okay, this is like where they were going with World of Warcraft, and then World of Warcraft and all that stuff. And then yeah, but then it was fascinating how Blackthorn, I played that a little bit because I remember seeing that the ads for that. I was like, oh wow, because they had Jim Lee do the box art cover.
Oh.
And that was really cool. But then when you play the game, like, this doesn't look like Jim Lee art at all, which is fine. But playing that game gave me like the original Prince of Persia vibes. Like the animations felt very much like that. I was like, oh, okay. You had to do everything pretty methodically. And in a way, it's almost like a puzzle too. It's not like very much like an action game.
Yeah, he does move kind of slower than your typical action game protagonist.
Yeah.
And you do have to kind of think tactically about the encounters where like you get shot at, so you have to like take cover. And you know, for this time period, most games were kind of button mashers, and this one definitely isn't. So
yeah, and again, like just kind of shows the DNA of Blizzard again. They were thinking about tactics and how you achieve one thing as opposed to mashing buttons all the time. So yeah, good on them for that. I saw this. I didn't get a chance to click on it through my first hour, but there was like I guess some videos and making of and stuff like that. Which I thought was cool that they added, so you can learn a little bit more about the history of Blizzard and where they came from and how they kind of got everything going. So that was cool.
Yeah, I think as a package, it offers quite a lot. I had never played Blackthorn before, so it was cool to try it. But that wraps up the 3 that I did try. So do you have any thoughts on Lost Vikings 2 or the other racing game?
Yeah, Lost Vikings. Lost Vikings 2, I think they just take the formula that they had in the first one and they kind of went a little crazier, I guess, because like now I don't know if this came out around the same time as like Bill and Ted, but they did like time traveling in the second one.
Okay, all right.
So you're dealing with that, and your characters have slightly different abilities because they've kind of like merged, or they stole equipment from like from an alien. So like each of them has like the jumping one can do like a rocket boost with the jump. Extended, and I feel like the guy with the shield had the most additions to him.
Okay.
Because outside of like blocking, now he could shrink, and then also he can like float with the shield.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. So yeah, so that was kind of cool too. We could talk about the other game a little bit later, but but yeah, like that's really what I enjoyed playing with all of them. So it's cool.
Fair enough. Are you ready to move on? It sounds like you are.
Yeah, I am ready to move on to our dislikes, Tom, because, and I get it. I think this is their very first game. The predecessor to Rock and Roll Racing, RPM, was definitely the worst of the bunch. That game was pretty rough. I mean, I could see the bones, and I could see that they had potential to what made Rock and Roll Racing that much more fun.
Yeah,
because this game controls are just so stiff.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you were just like, anything that you touched, you were like about to explode. And I was like, this is not fun.
Oh, this car's made of aluminum foil.
Yeah, it must have been, because it was bad. And yeah, but I was surprised that for me, Blackthorn was like the second worst game out of the bunch.
Yeah.
I think it was just more, I got frustrated playing it because there was definitely fail states that if you, as an example, like in the early stages, you have to bust down these doors.
Yep.
And you have a couple of grenades. But if you miss, or you don't use the grenades at the right place, you're stuck. You can't continue. You can't progress. So what do you have to do? You have to start all over. Start all over again. And it was so frustrating. And I thought also it was weird that there was a lot of I guess prisoners that were just kind of shackled away. And I was like, is there a way you could free them or something? I broke down a door where this guy was like pacing, and he did nothing. I couldn't interact with him. Like, only other way was to maybe shoot him with my shotgun. But like, that was it. And that was kind of unfortunate. But like, it still like Blackthorn had like really cool cutscenes and stuff like that. But yeah, that was really annoying. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I think it's annoying that you shoot backwards in Blackthorn. I had a really hard time shooting forwards. He does like this behind the back shot.
He does? I didn't even do that.
Yeah, well, the default button on the controller, if you hit the shoot button, he shoots the wrong way, not the way you're facing. He shoots behind you.
Really?
And so I had to if I pressed two buttons at once, I could get him to shoot forward, which is what I wanted him to do. I was not a fan of that. I got stuck like you did with the bombs. I just felt like it was kind of frustrating in a lot of places.
Yeah.
The other thing that frustrated me is there is a cutscene in Blackthorn that's not skippable.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true of that. The demo, which I liked in the Lost Vikings, is also not skippable. So if you know how to play Lost Vikings or whatever, you are still stuck watching it. So they're not long, but
Yeah.
In the modern age, you can skip cutscenes, and you can't with these. So.
Yeah. Come on, Blizzard. What were you thinking? But I also thought that it was weird that there was like the way to get to the UI for like the collection was like you had to press the right trigger or right thumbstick down.
Yep.
Which was a little confusing. And the other part that was confusing, I think you kind of touched on this earlier, there's a watch button for certain games. And so I tried that initially for, I think, Blackthorn. I was like, wait, so it starts playing the game, and then you're like, well, how do I get out of this? And like every time it would say give up. I'm like, I guess. But it's like, I guess it was just playing the game for you automatically. And I was like, okay, but how do I, and that's where I was just fumbling around with the controls to figure out how do I get out of here, to exit the game. And then once I did,
that's only in the ROM versions. The definitive edition doesn't have that, so I didn't experience it, but I read about it. So it's
okay.
It exists for the classic versions of the game where it'll kind of just auto play it for you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It was. I thought that was really weird.
The definitive editions don't have quick save, which I noticed.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
at least it gives you like the passwords, like
Sure.
like you're used to doing.
Yeah.
And you can, if you're playing the classic versions of the games, you can quick save, presumably because it's running some emulator,
Right.
and that's just kind of built in.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I don't know. If you
Yeah.
want to play the definitive editions, you have to play them kind of the way that they're meant to be played.
Right.
with the
I don't get
passwords and that sort of stuff.
I don't get that. I don't get why like they didn't put all the features in every version. If you're going to put something out here, like be consistent with it.
I guess it's to differentiate them.
I suppose.
Speaking of, I was fumbling the controls. There are no tutorials for, anything, or even just even just some key mappings and stuff like that would have been helpful, because I had to fumble around to find that menu to pop out. Like
the controls, right?
Yeah, I didn't know how to do that. Like to get back to the main menu, I just pressed every button until something happened.
Yep, that's exactly what I was doing. And yeah. Once you pull up that UI, then it's like, okay, here are your controls and all this other stuff. But it's like, Blizzard.
It doesn't tell you how to get to that UI, so it's like,
no, they've been doing this for 30 plus years. So you would figure someone would have maybe done a quick like walk through and make sure that things were no.
I don't know.
They're just like, we're doing it live. Screw it, throw it out there. People will like it, and maybe they do. What else you got here?
I thought the music in the definitive edition of Rock and Roll Racing wasn't as good.
Really?
And that's because the Black Sabbath song that you mentioned your likes, you are wrong. It's not there. It's missing from the definitive edition because of licensing. It is in the classic version of the game. It's replaced with another Rush song in the definitive edition.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I was like, I started playing Rock and Roll Racing. This is why it was my first dislike. I was like, what the hell song is this? I was like, this isn't from Rock and Roll Racing.
Yeah.
And then like the next stage, it's like, oh, okay, these songs are recognized.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, but where's Black Sabbath? And I found out later that it's not in the definitive edition because of some kind of licensing thing.
That's a shame. Well, I mean, and I think I ended up playing the Super Nintendo version most of my time in that. And but yeah, I was really disappointed with the Genesis version. Like, it just felt like a bare bones port.
Like,
it was
stripped down.
Yeah, it was like they barely had any of the announcer kind of doing any of his announcements and stuff like that about the game. And and the music just felt very sparse. I was like, what's going on? And the maps felt like a little like they didn't have as many things. I don't know. It was just weird. I was like, this sucks. I'm just going to go to the SNES version. So that's what I did. That's where I ended up most of my time there.
Yeah.
So well, that's
the Super Nintendo one is one of my favorite versions, but if I'm going to replay it,
Yeah, why not? All right. Shall we get to our other thoughts then, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long to beat says this game takes, or this collection of games takes about 5 to 13 hours to complete.
Okay. That's widespread. I can't imagine beating all 5 games in 5 hours. I think like that's not enough time to finish Rock and Roll Racing even.
You think so? Well,
I don't think you could beat Rock and Roll Racing and both versions of Lost Vikings and Blackthorn in 5 hours. It seems unlikely.
I mean, I think someone out there threw the gauntlet down, Tom, and said that they did.
Maybe they beat one of the games in 5 hours.
Maybe. Local co-op is available, so you can play on the PC or the Xbox like that. So for Rock and Roll Racing, so that was cool.
All right.
What do you got, Tom?
Okay. So we didn't really talk about it too much, but there are a plethora of features and things built into this. They have an art and artifacts. They have the development materials. They have video interviews with a bunch of the designers.
Oh, nice.
There's a music player in there.
Okay.
So lots of, even if you're just not interested in playing the games, there's tons of, let's say Rock and Roll Racing is one of your favorite games, as it was for me. There's really interesting stuff in there that you could go and watch. I didn't watch the stuff because, for the hour, let's play the games, right?
Yeah.
But there's a ton of content there, old development art. I'm trying to think of concept art was the word I was
concept
looking
art.
for.
Yes.
I learned that RPM Racing and Lost Vikings 2 were actually added after the original release, which is why when you read a lot of the language about the game, it says 3 games. like 3 of Blizzard's classics. So they're talking about Rock and Roll Racing, Blackthorn, and the original Lost Vikings.